Let me try to adjust my camera just a little bit here. Not sure if I even can, but I wanted to, I've got a bunch of stuff going on right now. I wanted to point out a quick video. I'm driving to Lafayette, Louisiana right now to the Louisiana GOP convention. It's going to be interesting just to see who's there, to be quite honest with you. Bill Cassidy, the turncoat that helped the Senate push through this plethora of anti-gun bills, would normally be there because he is one of the hosting senators in his host state. I can almost guarantee you he won't be there. I can almost guarantee you that his staff will not be there. They'll likely have a booth with a couple of little nice fluffy things good to say about Cassidy. But yeah, I don't suspect they'll be there. I will be trolling them. I will be looking for them. And if I see them, I will be asking them some pointed questions. Good friend of mine and a fellow GOA colleague, Josh Barnhill, actually pointed out to me that there was, you know how they do these phone call town halls? Apparently Cassidy had one yesterday. And this was all information that I gathered through a voicemail from Josh because I missed his call. But sounded like Cassidy was saying that the reason why he was voting for these bills was because he was, quote, protecting the Second Amendment. That he was doing this so that the states couldn't enact anything harsher than what was allowed in...
Use the left lane.
I apologize. I have my map on too because I'm headed to, like I said, Lafayette. So anyway, it sounded like Cassidy was trying to head things off at the pass by making the comment that, or bringing up the gun issue, but making the comment that he was protecting the Second Amendment, the state's Second Amendment.
In 6.4.
Out and talk about anything gun related at this point, because surely nobody believes this man. I can't imagine anyone believes that he's doing anything that's pro Second Amendment. The guy's done nothing at all to help in any kind of way. But anyway, the point of this video is not necessarily to talk about that, it's to talk about the Supreme Court. Of course, the big ruling yesterday, striking down the New York ruling that honest law-abiding Americans could not conceal carry a firearm on their person in the state of New York, was struck down, rightfully so. It was an unconstitutional law, should have never been in place. It shows you how lazy politicians and legislators have been for over 100 years to even allow that to stand for 100 years. It will not be reversed in any kind of way. People better get used to it. I do believe that however much of it I read, I got up to, if you look at the text of the ruling, I read the entire ruling, the ruling by Clarence Thomas, great ruling, beautifully worded. Then I read Alito, which is a video that I put out yesterday. I read Alito's concurrence, mostly where he referenced Breyer's dissent and shot down all the stupid things that Breyer had to say. So I haven't read through the entire thing yet, because most of what I have left, well, all of what I have left to read is the rest of Breyer's dissent and some of the other concurrences. I have not read Kavanaugh's concurrence, which I understand that's going to be a pretty critical one, because Kavanaugh does reference the having to pay for a permit, and I think that's a bad thing. I think that should have been left out, because now what that does is kind of solidify the chance that states can continue to mandate and basically strike down constitutional carry. Again, I have not read that yet, so forgive me for that. I'm just speaking on what I've read, information that I've had coming out. I have not read through that yet. So again, once I get to that, I'll be able to be a little bit clearer on that. I don't want to speculate too much. And I know that Barrett had a concurrence also written in there. So I really want to read the rest of that stuff to really get a better understanding of what all's in there. Overall, I think it's a good thing, but I think it's a horrible thing for wacko liberals. It's a horrible thing for anti-constitutionalists. Their hair is literally on fire right now. And then on top of that, today, we get Roe versus Wade being reversed. Now, I chuckle because this is playing right into the hands of these loonies on the left, like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. The video that I put out this morning where they're dissatisfied with the Supreme Court's ruling yesterday, imagine what they're going to say today. The thing is, guys, and those of you that are not even historians, you just paid attention in history class or civics class, you understand why and how the three branches of government were actually made. You have the legislative branch, which is supposed to legislate, make laws, present laws, and if those laws pass the executive branch, which is the White House, the president, they're signed off on and they go into that's current law now. That's going to be existing law. Once it passes the legislative branch, it goes into the executive branch. If those laws are found to be unconstitutional from those two previous branches, in other words, if the legislative branch
in 2 miles
and if the president in the executive branch also got it wrong, the check and balance system that's in place is that the courts, you've got the courts that are the check and balance system, that if those people got it wrong, now you have the Supreme Court to bounce that out. That's literally their job. The Supreme Court is there for nothing else but then to determine if what the Congress and the president enacted into law, if it's unconstitutional, they strike it down. It's no different than the president vetoing a bill or signing a bill into law. That's kind of what the Supreme Court's responsibility is. So they're just doing their job. And look, even the wackos in the Supreme Court, the three that voted against this overturning of the New York law yesterday, the New York ruling, even they know more about the Constitution than Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and most likely, probably every politician in the Supreme Court, maybe not Ted Cruz.
Use the right to
able-minded constitutionalist. He knows quite a bit about it. In fact, I don't remember which justice that Ted Cruz clerked for, but it was one of the Supreme Court justices. It might have been Scalia.
continue.
So Ted Cruz is pretty good on the Constitution. He understands it, and I think Rand Paul
For 66 miles.
nevertheless, I think that Supreme Court did their job yesterday, and apparently they did their job today. Look, we're not always going to agree with everything the Supreme Court says, right? But they're the third equal body of government. They literally serve a purpose to make sure that if the constitutionality of a law or a bill is overlooked somehow by the legislative branch or the executive branch, then they are the branch that's supposed to, I guess, be the balance in that. Because knowing that, you don't have to be a constitutional lawyer or a constitutionalist to be a legislator, to be in the House or the Senate, or to get the presidency. Obviously, Donald Trump's not an attorney, and he was president. So the Supreme Court's job is to make sure that if those people, in their lack of knowledge of the Constitution, that if those other two branches get it wrong, the Supreme Court can make it right. And that's what they're doing. For anyone to say they don't agree with it and that they're going to do something about it tells me that they are showing their hand. Look for them to try in every possible way now to pack the court, because they are trying to convince the jellyheads out there and the simple-minded people that are too stupid to think for themselves. They are now putting those buzzwords, those dog whistles out there that the Supreme Court got it wrong. Not that the Supreme Court ruled and they don't agree with it. That's not all they're saying. They're going so far as to say the Supreme Court got it wrong which is to say that now they're discrediting every single thing the Supreme Court does now and going backwards. That's what they're doing. Regardless of what place in time you look at it, they are discrediting every single decision the Supreme Court has made since the beginning of the Supreme Court. So they are already trying to discredit that. That's what they're doing. And their only reason for, or wanting to have the reason to discredit the Supreme Court, is because they want to make changes to the Supreme Court. I actually saw one idiot last night that said they need to dissolve the Supreme Court. Really? Dissolve the Supreme Court? Let me explain something to the idiots out there that don't understand how this crap works. Yeah, I get that the fact that they might fix elections and rig elections on the left from here on out. We may never win another White House, and quite possibly could never win another House or Senate majority. But we could. The right, conservatives, Republicans, whoever, any party besides Democrats can be in power one day. It may be in power one day. I get that Republicans are cowards and they usually don't play by the same rules as a lot of these others. The Democrats do. Democrats are going to play dirty no matter what. And when they get that power, they assume that power, and they're hard at work pushing that power and making sure that they can abuse it and get everything out of that power that they can while they still have it. So any idiot out there that thinks the Supreme Court should be dissolved is stupid, because they're ignoring the fact that one day that one day the legislative branch, House and Senate, as well as the executive branch in the White House, those two could very easily be against them at some point and force through everything they want if there is no balance by having the Supreme Court out there to be that check and balance system. Now, personally, I don't think anyone is trying to dissolve the Supreme Court. I think that was just some mouthy person just saying something because they were upset, their feelings were hurt because they didn't agree with the ruling. Truly what they want to do is to pack the court. Truly what their intentions are is to go in there and pack as many left-leaning, wacko, activist justices as they can. They don't like the fact that there's 9 in there because these are lifetime appointments. They don't like lifetime appointments because right now it's essentially, loosely, a 6-3 balance in there, meaning that they can't force any unconstitutional things through as long as they don't have a majority. So they want to put more people in there so that they can get the majority. How stupid is that? We don't like that we're getting our butts kicked in this game, so we want to change the way we keep score. Yeah, that's what their intention is. That's what they intend to do. So look for that. I truly believe in my heart of hearts that by Biden and Kamala, and you're going to see all the Chuck Schumers and Nancy Pelosi's come out and say that the Supreme Court got it wrong. They're not just going to say, I disagree with the Supreme Court rulings on Roe or the Second Amendment. They're not just going to say that. They are purposely going to use the wording that they got it wrong. Not that they disagree, that they got it wrong. Because they are going to do everything they can now to discredit the Supreme Court, to show that something needs to be fixed. That is their ultimate goal. Look for that. That is going to happen. Now, what you have to do, guys, I see it in my comment section all the time. Oh, it doesn't matter if you call anybody. Yes, it does. It does matter. It absolutely matters. Bill Cassidy is running scared right now because we have bombarded his phone and his email with things about the Second Amendment. This man had designs of running for governor one day in the state of Louisiana. He may not even try now because he's heard from so many of us. We can get rid of these people. It's not automatic. I hope people don't think that it's going to happen automatically. Yeah, he still voted for this unconstitutional bill. I get that. People are mocking what we talk about online right now, saying, oh, every single time to talk about a bill or get people to get motivated to do something. We are literally trying to play the long game. We're trying to make sure that this is not one of those things that, oh, well, we're not going to win this, so let's not, nobody call in, because there's no way they're going to not vote for this, and they're going to push this through anyway. No, we can't be thinking like that. What a defeatist attitude that is. That is an absolute defeatist attitude. We have got to be looking at the long game and trying to play that and getting people like Cassidy out of there. At some point, there's going to be somebody else get in there. I will tell you right now that a friend of mine, a guy that I know fairly well, if Cassidy lasts until 2026, I truly believe that my friend has a chance to unseat Cassidy. I really believe that. And if Cassidy tries to get out of there to run for governor of Louisiana next year, then that seat's going to be open and maybe my friend gets in there sooner. But either way, I know this person and I know where he stands. Probably the one thing that he's strongest on as far as his belief system is the Second Amendment. So we do have an opportunity to get people like him in there. And he's a good man. He's a good person. So again, we've got to stop ignoring the fact that we're just looking at immediate returns on stuff, because these people are going to try to pack this court, and we cannot sit back and go with this defeatist attitude that, oh, they're going to do whatever they want anyway. Look, the Supreme Court rulings yesterday and today are proof that we have check and balance systems. Even if these people pass unconstitutional laws, like what the New York law was with concealed carry. Yeah, it took 100 years. That's just because people were lazy. But we do have a check and balance system that rooted that wrong and got it out of there. So we are seeing some positive things. Would we like to see them do more? Exactly, we would. But we're going through the right channels in order to do it. And this was a step in the right direction. Would I rather see constitutional carry? Of course I would. But that's not what was on the docket yesterday. That's not what they were, the two petitioners in the New York case were not asking for constitutional carry. So that's why the Supreme Court didn't rule on constitutional carry yesterday. That's specifically why. They were asking for the right to still be able to petition for a permit. That's what they were asking for. They were saying that, look, instead of you deciding whether or not I get a permit, instead of it being a may issue where you might decide to give me my permit, the state of New York needs to be a shall issue per the Constitution, because I shall be able to have it no matter what. No one should have to provide a reason of why they reasonably need to defend themselves. That's a God-given right that we have to defend ourselves. You don't need to prove that you need to defend yourself. If you have to prove that you need to defend yourself, it's probably too late to defend yourself. It's not like you get an email from somebody who's going to attack you saying, hey, next Thursday's the day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you have to prove why you need to defend yourself, it might be too late. So again, guys, I think we have to be vigilant to try to protect the Supreme Court. Justice is at being 9. There's, I'm sure, some cases that I have disagreed with over the years. I don't want to stack the court. Heck, we sat here, the people, we let this ruling sit for 100 years in New York without saying that we need to pack the court. So clearly we have the patience and the wherewithal to respect the fact that we have a judicial branch out there. The judicial branch is that balance of that legislative and that executive branch, and it needs to stay intact with how it is now. That's going to be our attack, guys. We are about to see the biggest attack on our constitutional rights and the biggest attack on the Supreme Court that we have ever seen. We also saw a peek at what the White House is willing to accept. It is against the law. It is a felony to go out there and protest in front of a Supreme Court justice's house. That is a law. Justice is not prosecuting that law. It's an actual law. It's not one that you have to perceive. It is an actual law on the books already. And they are doing nothing. The White House is not condemning that. So the White House, they really saw that these two laws were going to be overturned by the Supreme Court. because both of these happened after Kavanaugh was not only threatened and an assassin went over to try to kidnap and kill him, but these justices have had their homes already protested in front of. This happened before the Second Amendment ruling and before the Roe ruling. So what that means is Biden already suspected that this was going to happen, or at least his handlers did, and as well. They figured, let's not set a precedent and do anything about it right now, because we have these other two things coming down that we want to use, and we want to indirectly encourage people to do that and protest in front of their homes. So now you're going to see massive protests now, massive, and because Roberts is still in there. But whoever voted against Roe to kick it out, their homes are now going to be protested in front of. And the Department of Justice, even with this as a law in the books, will do nothing about it. So Biden and the Department of Justice set this up weeks ago by allowing this to happen because they knew this was going to happen. Because the more protests that they can have, the more protests that can be on TV, that can visibly say, oh, look at the American people want this. And they're always about optics, and that's going to be their way to try to destroy the filibuster and force through packing the court. This is a big deal. I really feel like we've got to be vocal about this, because this can change everything. Because if they pack the court, all this little 2A thing that we're excited about from yesterday, that we're wanting to high-five each other for, is gone. Because they all of a sudden stack the court in their favor, and they strike down every constitutional that's ever been ruled on, and now rule unconstitutionally, and now they reinterpret the Constitution, including the Second Amendment, to just mean whatever they want. So while our battles are never over with, I think we have to ramp it up. I really believe that now is the time to ramp this up. I think that we have to get so hard about this right now and ramp this up and really push right now to our congressmen, anybody who will listen to us. I feel like we have to really be vocal about it. And let me tell you another thing, a lot of things that we overlook all the time. Your state and local governments, we need to be vocal and more active on them. I know a lot of people always look to the federal level to see as laws that are coming down. And sometimes we overlook these unconstitutional laws that are being pushed at the state level. This law that got passed yesterday, this bill that got passed yesterday, I should say, not law, that the Senate passed, includes bribe money and extortion money to pay off leaders in each state so that they will enact these unconstitutional laws that they want at the federal level. So we have got to be more aware of and conscious of what our local leaders, I like to use quotes when I say leaders because they're not leaders of me. They work for me. They don't lead anything in terms of where I'm at. But we've got to be more vocal with them locally now. We cannot just expect the big picture to be at the federal level. The big picture now has got to include everything all the way down. Look, some of these states at the municipal level are trying to pass laws. These states are to say that municipalities and smaller communities can pass their own anti-gun laws. So we have to be aware of that too, knowing that if these state laws pass these types of bills that allow municipalities to infringe on your Second Amendment rights, you may feel like, oh, well, the state didn't pass, I don't know, a ban on AR-15s, for instance. You may say, yay, they struck down the state ruling to ban AR-15s. Meanwhile, if they pass these laws that allow municipalities to infringe upon your rights even more stringently than what the states are, then these municipalities, you might wake up one day and find yourself in jail because you didn't realize that your little municipality, your little village, your little town passed some kind of a new law that said AR-15s are punishable by up to 10 years in prison. So I feel like with the attacks we're going to have on the Supreme Court, trying to stack it, and as mad as the left is right now, the left's mad right now, guys. Oh God, they are mad. They are so pissed off right now. They are going to do everything they can to feel like they can squeeze a victory out because they just had 2 major losses in a row in 2 days handed to them. And these were decades in the making. Decades in the making. And within 2 days, the 2 things that probably matter to them most killing babies and banning guns now have been struck down. Now, granted, there's more to the abortion side of it. States can still have abortions. You can still have the ability to have an abortion is not over. It's not gone. The Roe decision, and I haven't read it yet, but I knew what the meat of it was. The Roe decision was simply going to be that the federal government didn't have a say on it. So if the states wanted to have a ruling one way or the other, either in favor of abortions or against abortions, then that was going to be a state level thing, which it should be. So don't let anyone fool you. Oh, women can't decide what they want to do with their bodies. They still can. They just can't kill humans that are inside of them. They can do whatever they want with their body. So don't fall for that. There's no one has said that states that abortions are going to be illegal now. That's stupid. Now, some states, they will be. I read earlier this morning that Missouri was one of the first states that put a law out years ago saying that in the state you could not have an abortion. Well, that law has kind of been skirted because the federal government was allowing abortions to happen. Now that the federal government has said it's a state decision, that same law in Missouri is still in effect, which means that Missouri just became the first state because they were the first state to put this type of law in place. Missouri, as of today, is the first state where it is illegal to have an abortion. So in the state of Missouri, yes, they're illegal there, but they won't be illegal in every single state. You want to have an abortion? Hey, go see your murdering doctors over in California. Go to New York. Go to New Jersey. Go to your baby killing states. They're still going to allow you to kill babies. Illinois, you kill all the babies you want. That doesn't matter to them. That's just money. That's some federal funding. So guys, we're going to have some crazy stuff going on. Let me remind real quick, because I see a bunch of you guys on there, and I apologize since I am driving that I cannot comment with you guys. Please subscribe to the channel. A lot of my viewers are getting unsubscribed. I know this is a real thing because there are some gun channels that I follow who are friends of mine, and I've been unsubscribed from their channels. If you subscribe to my channel, hit the little bell, because when you hit the bell, you should get a notification if they don't turn your bell off when I put a new video out or when I go live. So please do that. Please share my channel with your friends on social media. Ask them to follow, because all that matters. I sit there and hit refresh without even putting a video out, and I watch that I lose subscribers. I don't think I'm putting anything controversial out there that any of my normal viewers don't like, so those numbers are getting pulled off by YouTube. It's not people who are unsubscribing from the channel. Do I think some people unsubscribe from my channel every now and then because they get their feelings hurt? Probably. I'm okay with that. Those people I don't mind losing. But there's a lot of strong patriot people who follow my channel, and I hate the fact that they might be getting taken off of subscribing and notifications through no fault of their own, because they just are getting pulled off because they're attacking channels like mine. So if you don't mind, please make sure you're subscribed and click the bell, and please, share with all your friends and family and ask them to follow my channel. But guys, just what crazy stuff we've got going on. Again, I'm going to the Louisiana GOP convention in Lafayette, Louisiana. That's where I'm headed right now. I will have a booth set up over there to sell copies of my book, How to Make a Monster. I'll also decal stickers for Gun Owners America. I'm the Louisiana State Director for Gun Owners America. My good friend and colleague with Gun Owners America, Josh Barnhill, will be there with me, and we'll be handing out cool stuff from Gun Owners of America. And again, I'll have copies of my book there as well. So we're going over there to try to still talk to some of these Republicans that we like to call, and Josh is good about calling them squishy Republicans, that they're not true conservatives. They're just Republicans in name only, and we call them rhinos. So we want to talk to a lot of those people, and this is the perfect time to talk to them, because we have these two Supreme Court rulings that now we can put in front of them and say, look, we are conservatives who stand for the Constitution. These Supreme Court justices just backed up everything that we've been saying all along. So why aren't you? Again, like I said earlier, Bill Cassidy is not going to show up. Bill Cassidy is a Republican who fancies himself as a Second Amendment person. He's never done anything in support of the Second Amendment. Not once. This guy's an absolute clown. He's wasting my time with having an R behind his name. So now we're going to get a chance to put our faces in front of their faces and approach them. We know John Kennedy will be there. He's our other senator. John Kennedy has been a very strong proponent of the Second Amendment up to this point. John Kennedy voted against that bill, that anti-gun bill yesterday. So we've got some allies out there. We just need those people. The way the pro-gun guys help us, even whenever we have an anti-gun senator, like we've got 2 senators in the state of Louisiana that cancel each other's votes out. The best thing we can do is have the ones that we feel like we have a say in to put pressure on those other ones, to let them know, hey, Bill, you do know you're going to get voted out, right? Because they do talk. And, Bill, you're coming up for re-election in a couple of years. You probably ought to not vote for this bill. You probably ought to vote against it. And I'm okay if these cowards vote just present and don't even cast a vote. Because at least it's not casting a vote that's canceling out my vote of the politician that I know will stand for my vote and for my views. Bill Cassidy has had his email and his telephone bombarded in the state of Louisiana, along with a lot of you guys who have also bombarded these anti-gun senators like Cornyn in Texas, Lindsey Graham, biggest coward on the planet in South Carolina, all these people out there who fancy themselves as Second Amendment supporters, and they're not voting the way their constituents want to vote. You guys have bombarded these politicians. In most cases, they're not even taking phone calls anymore. Right at first, when Cassidy came out and said he was going to vote for this, you could actually get through to his office. In the last week, you could not get through to his office. They stopped answering the phone. And in some cases, people have communicated back to me that not only could you only leave a voicemail, but it got to a point where their voicemail was full and they wouldn't empty it. So the voicemail wouldn't even take your message. It's making a difference. I'm telling you it does. It may not make a difference today, but these people in some cases are going to start looking for other jobs. I truly believe that Bill Cassidy knows he won't get reelected, and he probably doesn't stand a chance for the governor of Louisiana. So he will start looking for another job. This man's supposedly a doctor. Maybe he goes back to practicing medicine. God knows I wouldn't want him practicing medicine on me. Can't understand logic and reason. How in the world can I expect him to be logical and reasonable about treating me when it comes to life and death situations? So anyway, guys, I think we're at a point where we have small victories, but man, the high-fiving is only temporary, because these people are after everything now. Again, the Supreme Court, you're about to see a massive attack on the Supreme Court. You're about to see these leftists go crazy. And again, I want to go back and point out what I said earlier. Joe Biden could easily say, along with Kamala Harris and all these other politicians, they could easily say simply, we don't agree with these rulings. They're not going to say that we just don't agree with these rulings. They're going to say they got it wrong. There's a difference. There is a difference. When you say I don't agree with these rulings, you're saying that that's my opinion. And I feel like they should have done something a little bit different based on what I feel. When you say they got it wrong, you're discrediting that organization. You're not just saying you think that you don't agree with it. You're saying that they arrived at this the wrong way, and that something is wrong with those people that made that determination on that ruling, because they got it wrong. They were incorrect in what they did, and we need to fix this, that we need to correct that incorrection. That's what they're trying to say. They're setting that up by saying that we need to correct the Supreme Court. And then again, if they can get enough of their jelly heads and enough of their slaves out there who just parrot everything they say to keep saying the same thing over and over and over again, then that's part of the battle. They start to get public support. And that's the biggest thing. You get public support. You may not get people calling congressmen, senators, and whomever else and voicing their support for something, because most people don't actively voice their support as much as they voice their opposition. Well, guys, I don't know what happened there. Looks like I got kicked off. Sorry about that. I know a lot of you jumped off of there when I got kicked off, but not really sure how that happens. I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't think that anybody kicked me off. I was probably driving through a bad area. I am on the interstate. in Louisiana between Lake Charles and Lafayette. Look, if any of you guys are going to be in the Lafayette, Louisiana area today, please go by the Cajun Dome where the Louisiana GOP convention is taking place. I will be in the lobby with a booth there with Gun Owners of America and with my book, How to Make a Monster. So if you guys get a chance, please swing by. I'd love to meet you, love to talk to you. We've got some cool stuff to give away from Gun Owners of America. I believe I still have some stuff from Legally Armed America. I do. I have some stuff that I brought from Legally Armed America to give away as well. So, I mean, that stuff is to give away. So, hopefully you but yeah, man, it's gonna be an interesting weekend for these rulings to take place on a Thursday and a Friday from the Supreme Court. Oh my God, can you imagine in these liberal enclaves out there? I mean, think about it, guys. The maniacs on the left have already openly threatened with flyers, online announcements, verbally on their social media pages that they plan to and intend to riot if Roe versus Wade was overturned. Well, here you go. So I see the meme going around out there with the guy, well, it's Clarence Thomas that they superimposed his face on there, but with the guy doing like this. And it says, overturning a ruling banning constitutional carry a day before Roe versus Wade is stricken down. And that's true. These people have threatened to riot, and better watch it. You know, I think because the BLM riots were so successful and they let everybody off, that was another thing this week that was announced, that our pitiful and pathetic Department of Justice, Merrick Garland and his crew, dropped all charges against the people who attacked, raped, murdered, burnt during the BLM riots. They dropped all those charges. So if you're a wacko on the left, you've got to think that rioting is a pretty cool thing, because you can tear other people's stuff up because you're upset. You can burn other people's towns down. There are no repercussions. Charges will be dropped. Yeah, maybe you spend a day or two in jail, but you get some good food and it's air conditioned inside. So there's no recourse if you riot for the cause of the left. No recourse. So it's good business, and it truly is a business. So that emboldens people. Watch how many, at first they're going to start off slow, I believe. You're going to start seeing a concerted effort. Once you get a little bit of weed into them, a little bit of dope into them, and I say that jokingly, a little bit of alcohol in them, they get bold, they get brave, they get froggy, they decide to jump. I would suggest that they stick to their own areas and don't feel like people in our neighborhoods are going to allow that to happen. You come in my neighborhood, you break the law, you get dealt with. And I know you guys are like that too. So this could be an interesting time. They'll try to pin this, the riots. They're going, mark my words, guys. I'm saying it right now. What is it? 11/16 on Friday. Is it June 23rd, I believe, or 24th? What's the date today? 24th. 11/16 on June 24th. I said this. The riots will be blamed on the Supreme Court. It won't be that the wackos on the left who disagreed with and had their feelings hurt about the Supreme Court's rulings that were constitutional. It won't be that that's why we had riots. It will be the Supreme Court was the reason why we had riots. Again, it goes back to having these highly visible areas, burning cities to the ground, attacking people. All these things like that are very visible things. People like to see that. You know, you want to turn the TV on. Oh my God, did you see what happened? I don't care which side you're on. People are attracted to that kind of stuff, that kind of negativity. Oh wow, did you see what happened? That's crazy what happened, you know, in such and such town where they burned it down. People are attracted to that. That's going to get attention, national attention, worldwide attention, and then that's going to be their way of saying, see what the Supreme Court did? We didn't have this before the Supreme Court made their rulings. They're going to say the people don't agree with the Supreme Court's rulings and they're rioting as a result of it. When in reality, they're rioting because the left is allowing them to riot. They're rioting because the left is blowing dog whistles right now to encourage them to riot. They're going to tell them at some point, like Kamala Harris did during the BLM riots, she was paying people's bond. They were encouraging people to riot. They were encouraging people to act out. They were verbally and officially saying these things. They're going to do the same. And in doing so, they're going to try to pass that blame off on the Supreme Court. I don't think it's going to work personally, but again, we got a lot of weak-minded, jelly-headed slaves out there who cannot think for themselves. The group-thinking mentality in this country is worse than it's ever been, and I don't see it getting any better right now. Or some people waking up on our side? Yo, absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't think they were ever asleep. I think they're just being more vocal now. I don't think they've ever been complacent, people that are on our side. I think they just sat back and saw people like us being vocal. We're like, that's good enough. They're doing enough for me. I don't need to do anything. Now I think they're like, no, I got to do something. So I don't think they were ever asleep at the wheel, so to speak. They just weren't vocal about it. And I think you're hearing them be way more vocal now. I think you're seeing that. I think you're seeing people going, not in my lifetime. And now they're being more active. I tell you the group that we really need to encourage to be more vocal, it was our children, our young people. That's a group that they've been hijacked. And really their cause has been hijacked. People for some reason look at the entire group of young people in this country as being anti-gun and, well, in this case, pro-abortion. They see that. They have lumped them all into one category. When by far, I truly believe in my heart that we have way more people, young people, who are pro-Second Amendment and however else conservative you want to call them. The problem with that is, think about when we were young. We were young, we were drunk. I shouldn't say drunk. We were drinking, we were partying, we were chasing girls. You know, you were doing things. You were having fun, playing sports, just doing what young people do. Sometimes you didn't have time for politics. So I think what we have to do is, instead of belittling and berating our young people today for not being as vocal as us, because they're not going to be, at least ask them to be a little bit more vocal than what they are. I don't need them to be at the level of what I am. I don't need them to be as loud and as vocal and as adamant as I am. I just need them to be a little bit more vocal than what they are. Because their one friend who might be on the fence, who grew up in a home that didn't have any kind of a leaning left or right politically, that one person, whether they know they are looking for this or not, is looking for guidance. These young people are all trying to find themselves. Help them find themselves. Encourage your young people, your kids, your grandkids, to help these people who don't really have a way, who don't really have a side. I don't mean force them. I don't mean try to bully them into a certain way. I mean encourage them to think for themselves. I truly believe in my own heart that any person who will ignore the loud, mouthy people out there who are just being belligerent and running their mouths, like me even, that if you are fair to yourself and you have any kind of a moral compass, that you are, whether you know it or not, a conservative-minded person. And in most cases, a liberty-minded person. Not liberal, a liberty-minded person where you want people to have their own choices to do the things they want to do. I truly believe in my heart that's where most genuinely good people would naturally fall. I really believe that, because no genuinely good person wants any type of government agency to tell them what to do and what not to do at every turn. No one wants that. No decent, liberty-minded person wants that. So if we can encourage our young people to just talk more about these issues amongst their friends. Again, don't bully them and tell them how they should think, but just let them know the plus and minus side, different viewpoints. I think that's huge. I think that's a large encouragement to getting some of these people who are pro-gun to be more vocal about it. So guys, it looks like I'm running into some traffic up here. I'm going to get off of here. I really just wanted to take a moment during my drive over to get with you guys and let you know where I feel on or how I feel on a couple things and where I stand on it. I think a lot of you guys that already follow me already know. Again, I would encourage you, if you're not already subscribed, to please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I am on all the other social medias. I'm on my second Twitter account. I got kicked off of there before. It's Paul at LAA now on Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, again, I'm on my second account, so don't think too poorly of me when you only see that I've got a handful of people following me. And the same thing on Instagram. I'm on Instagram, but my 20,000 follower Instagram got deleted a couple months ago, and I'm starting over, so there's a couple hundred on there now. Again, I don't care. Those people right there, I don't let them define me. There's plenty of people on YouTube that follow what I have to say, and I do appreciate that. That's why I ask that you please make sure you're subscribed so that I can continue to get the word out to you. And click that bell so that you can get an email whenever I put an email out, a new video out or a live stream out. But if you would share the channel also, please ask your friends and family to follow. Share my videos when you get the chance. Obviously, liking the videos and commenting makes a difference too. I do try to comment or at least engage as much as I possibly can in my comment section. Obviously, the more popular a video is, the harder it is because there's that much more feedback coming through. But I do make as good an effort as I can to try to engage with people in the comment section as much as I can on YouTube. So I do appreciate the feedback. And look, I've mentioned it on there. There's people that I have respectfully disagreed with, and I say that I'm respectfully disagreeing with them. I'm not being combative whenever I say that. I'm not trying to talk down on somebody. I'm simply letting people know that I don't agree with you, but I like whenever I can engage somebody, even if I don't agree with them, even if we have a disagreement. That's the beauty of this country. Unfortunately, not a lot of people are okay with opposition. I am. Now, when you're stupid and you say stupid things, and if you're incorrect, and it's not your opinion that's wrong, it's the facts that you're stating out wrong, I'm going to call you out on it, so be prepared for that too. Don't tell me that guns are killing children every single day. I will correct you. So guys, have a great weekend. Please watch your back. The loonies on the left have already threatened that they will riot and will begin rioting after the Roe decision is overturned, and it was overturned today. So look to start seeing little pockets of violence that start to pop off. And I just don't want any of my friends out there to get caught with their head in the sand and not being aware of your surroundings. So head on a swivel, guys. Head on a swivel. We will see you guys another time. Remember, don't ever be afraid to be the safest person in the room and the deadliest. And remember, you can always come here to get a nice, vulgar dose of logic and reason. That's what I'm here for, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys soon.